Hello, welcome back. I'm back. We are back for another year. And what a year it is shaping up to be already. And I thought, what better way to start the year off with my first video than with a reminder from Neville Goddard. So today what I want to do is read a passage from Neville Goddard's lecture series, volume 12, lecture 3, I think it is, You Can Forgive Sin. I'm going to read this paragraph, this passage from his lecture, which is going to serve as a reminder of what to do if you get caught with your awareness out there and you're seeing something that you do not want to be seeing in your reality. Now, this can be at an individual level. It can also be at a collective level. Obviously, there is a lot going on at the collective level, and I want to talk about that as well. So that's what we're doing today. My name is Hedley, and I am so happy you are here. If you are new to my channel, thank you. You are in the right place. And if you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back and staying with me while I had my little break, which was very much needed and appreciated. So if you would like to know more about me, I have a number of different offerings. My coaching business is back open. I was actually working last week, so that's all up and running. And I have a number of products. If coaching isn't your thing, I have books, I have courses. In particular, my new course, Recreate a Specific Person. You'll find all of those details at my website, youaretheone.com.au. But for now, let's get into it. Just before my break, I actually bought a new camera, a DJI or S or something. It's got letters in there. And I bought this new camera and I took it with me on my break and I filmed all this amazing footage of the Australian landscape, which I hadn't seen before, and I wanted to share it here, and I did not realize, but I was filming in 4K. I don't know what that is, but it's the highest you can film in on that little camera, and my beautiful little computer really struggled to handle that. So I want to share some of that footage in this video. I'm recording this before I've actually done that. So if you're seeing the footage in this video of my trip throughout Australia over the break, then I figured that out. And if you are not seeing the footage, then I am yet to figure it out, but I will. Anyway, so I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a bit going on. And there's a bit going on at all levels, whether it's your individual level or the collective level. What you will be seeing is that which has been in the shadows is rising up to the surface so that it can be seen in the light and then healed. Now, that's not always a comfortable or pleasant process. It's kind of like consciousness vomiting out that which has been in the shadows, that which has been kept behind closed doors, behind the veil, a secret. There are no secrets anymore, as you will see. They're all coming up. And when you see them, it's quite shocking. When you become aware of something that you didn't know existed in the shadows, it is shocking. I became aware of something the other day that was so dark and depraved that I didn't even know it existed. I didn't even know it was a thing in this world, that people could do that. And I became aware of it. And even though I was, holy shit, what do I do with this? I also quickly remembered this work. The reason that I'm seeing it is so that I can be in command of it, because we don't have any power over that which we can't see or which we are unaware of. That's where the powerless lies. So the more you're aware of, the more you have command over. And if you are seeing something or hearing something in your reality, whether it's at an individual level or at a collective level, you are not bound to it. You are not powerless to it. And that's what I wanted to remind you of in this video, and share this passage from Neville's lecture, which will remind you of that. And also that's why I chose this background, kind of the depth of the shadow. It's underwater. I don't know if you got that. Oh, look, there's the treasure chest. And it's actually bringing these stories, these narratives, these states of consciousness that have existed. They have existed in our unawareness, in our unconsciousness for however long. And this is the moment where that is all being dismantled and it is all coming up to the surface. And the characters who are helping to bring it up to the surface are the ones who need to be in the positions that they are in order to bring this to the surface. Keeping in mind, you've got to remember that the stuff that you're seeing in reality, the stuff that we are all seeing in this reality at the moment, has been going on behind the scenes for all of time. It is now being put out in front of us, and it is shocking. But it's always been there. We've just been unaware of it. Not anymore. And in you becoming aware of some of the awfulness that has existed within consciousness, you as the infinite I am of reality, expressing itself through your human form, you get to choose what you would like to see instead. But the only way you get to choose is if you know you have a choice. And to have a choice, there must be contrast. There must be the contrasting state. So never for a moment think that what you are seeing is fixed or what you are hearing is fixed. Allow yourself to feel whatever response you feel in regards to that, and then choose a different potential, a new potential, a lighter potential. That is why all of this shit is coming up, so that we can choose a new potential. You cannot change what you cannot name. History only repeats until we wake up from the narrative that is history. And remember, history is third person. In order to get into command of history is to get back into I am. And that's what I want to remind you of now. So this is the passage from Neville. It comes from Neville Goddard's lecture series, volume 12. You can find it on the internet. The title of the lecture is You Can Forgive Sin. There is only one being in the world that can save you, and that being is I am. So you save yourself. What would it be like, were it true, if I were now the man or woman I would like to be? Assume it, and dare to believe it, and walk as though it were true. And no power in this world can stop it, but no power. There is no one greater than God. Say, I am. That is God. You stand in the presence of a being, and because he has a little tag, or because he is the premier of a certain country, or the queen or president of a certain land, you think he is greater than you are? You are missing the mark. You can't stand in the presence of anyone who is greater than you if you know who you are. You are not going to lord it over them, knowing, but no one will be smaller either. All are God. And then you are told to go and tell them. Ezekiel 3:18 and 33:8. Go and tell them. If you do not tell them, and they sin, and you do not tell them, they will die in their sin, but their blood will be upon your head. If you tell them, and they do not repent, they will die in their sin, but the blood will not be upon your head. So tell them. So Jesus is made to confess that he told them that the blood might not be upon his head. Okay, so what does that mean? What is Neville trying to tell us when he shares that passage? There is no one greater than you. And even if he has a little tag that says he's the premier of a country or the president of a land, there is no one greater than God, and God is I am. And then he goes on to say, and tell them. Tell them. When you know who you are, you tell them. And then if they go and do whatever they're going to do, then that's on them. It's not on you. But if you don't tell them and they go and do whatever they're going to do, then that's on you. And then you might be saying, well, how am I going to tell this person who's the leader of this country who they truly are, which is the infinite I am, and they've just forgotten, they're in amnesia, which is why they think that they've got to go out and hurt this person and take that land and do this and do that. Who am I to tell them or remind them who they are? And if I could, how on earth could I do that? You are as we all are, connected to the one authority, which is I am. I am is your imagination, and I am is connected to every single person here on earth. You can call it whatever name you want, but it's one and we are all connected to it. If you are not having inner conversations with people and presidents and the leaders of countries and reminding them of who they are, then you do not believe in I am. If you are believing that the only conversation that is real is the one that you have in reality, then you do not believe in I am. You do not believe in the power of your imagination. Your imagination is the cause of reality, and everyone is connected to it. If you're seeing somebody who has forgotten who they are, then that's up to you to go into your imagination and to call them forth and to remind them and to have that chat with them and to talk to them and to guide them. You get to do that. And you do it in your imagination. You have that conversation in imagination. So look out at your reality. And what is it in your reality is upsetting you, or it is making you angry, or you're seeing something that you don't like, or you're seeing somebody acting from a place of amnesia and forgetfulness, then that's a conversation that is your responsibility to have with them. And it is easier than having that conversation in reality. All you do is you go into your I amness and you call them, third person, you call them forth and you bring them forward and you say what needs to be said. You remind them. They will hear it. Now, depending on what they do with it, that's out of your hands. We have no control over reality. We only have 100% control over consciousness, and consciousness is the cause of reality. But when you go and have those inner conversations in imagination, you will find that you start to embody a different frequency in relationship to that person that you are observing. And you will start to see things and people respond differently and behave differently. So I know a lot of you here are looking out at the world as conscious, aware beings and feeling the heartbreak and the devastation and the kind of what is going on because this isn't what I'm manifesting. This stuff that's happening has been happening. It's been in the shadows and people have been acting in these ways for centuries. And as the ones who have come here now at this particular point in time on this particular timeline with the awareness that you have, this is what you've come for, to remind those who have forgotten, to help call them home. And you can do all of it in imagination. So go and tell them, the ones in your reality that you know have forgotten, whether they are in your family or whether they are out in reality, whether they are leading countries, whether they appear far, far, far away at a very different level to the one you're living at. Go into your imagination, call them forth and remind them of who they are. Call them home. They may not listen, but they will hear you. We have a responsibility to go and tell those who have forgotten, come back to I am, come back to your inner world, come back to your truth. Now that will be different for everyone. It's not about telling anyone how to do it or what that means or what language to use. Remind people that what they are looking for is within. It's not out there. Go and tell them. And remind them to come home to self. And that when they do, they will find everything that they have been searching for out there. We've all been there. We all know it. We can all relate. So go and tell them. We can help each other wake up and remember. And of course, keep coming back to your infinite I amness, your home with self, and rest there. Whenever you see things out there that are unpleasant, that are uncomfortable, remember to come home to self, come back to I am. That's where you will find that neutrality that will keep you grounded and out of the polarity of what is going on out there. So go forth and tell everyone who has forgotten, in imagination, of course, inner conversations. They are more powerful than we can possibly imagine, so to speak. And I will go and take my girl for a walk and I'll look for, oh, there she is. And I will look forward to seeing you in the next video next week. Okay, bye.